A bee that stings you is already dead. The moment it pushes that tiny stinger into your skin, its fate is sealed. It has maybe a few minutes left to live, its body is about to tear itself apart. Its insides will be ripped out, and it knows, on some level deep inside that tiny brain, the bee understands what's about to happen. It stings you anyway. This is one of the strangest, most heartbreaking suicide missions in the entire animal kingdom. A creature that gives up its own life to deliver a single drop of pain, and the reason behind it, the actual evolutionary, biological, and chemical reason, is way more complicated and way more disturbing than anyone tells you. By the end of this video, you'll never swat at a bee the same way again. Let's start with the basics, because most people get this completely wrong. Not every bee dies after stinging. In fact, most bees on Earth can sting you over and over again with no problem at all. Bumblebees? They can sting multiple times. Carpenter bees, mason bees, sweat bees, most of them can keep stinging until they get tired. Wasps and hornets, which a lot of people confuse with bees, can sting dozens of times without any consequences. The bee that dies after stinging is one specific type, the honeybee. And only the female honeybee, the worker bee. Male honeybees, called drones, don't even have stingers. They can't sting you if they tried. The queen has a stinger but rarely uses it on humans. So the bee that gives its life to defend the hive is always a female worker. Always. Every single time. So why does she die? The answer is in her stinger, and it's one of the most brutal designs in nature. A honeybee's stinger isn't smooth like a needle. It's barbed, like a tiny harpoon. Microscopic backward-facing hooks line the entire length of it. When the bee stings something soft, like human skin, those barbs lock into the flesh and make it impossible to pull out. The bee tries to fly away. The stinger stays stuck. And as she pulls, her entire stinging apparatus, including the venom sac, parts of her digestive tract, muscles and nerves, rips out of her body and stays embedded in your skin. She literally tears herself in half just to deliver the sting. But here's the part nobody talks about. The detached stinger keeps working. Even after the bee flies off, the stinger left behind in your skin continues pumping venom into you. The muscles attached to it contract automatically, squeezing more poison into the wound for up to a minute after the bee is gone. The bee's body is no longer attached, but the weapon she left behind is still finishing the job. It's biological warfare designed to keep injecting pain even after the soldier has died. And the bee? She doesn't survive the trauma. Her body has been torn open, her abdomen is ruptured, her organs are exposed, she might fly a few feet, maybe even a few minutes, but she will collapse and die soon after. Every honeybee sting on a human is a one-way trip. So the next obvious question is, why? Why would evolution build a creature that kills itself to defend a hive? Why not just give bees a smooth stinger like wasps? The answer is wild. Honeybee stingers are not designed for humans. They're designed for other insects. In nature, the things that attack a beehive most often aren't humans, they're other bees, beetles, ants, wasps, and small invertebrates. And against those soft-bodied insects, the barbed stinger works perfectly. It pierces, it injects venom. It pulls back out without any problem. The bee stings, the enemy dies, and the bee flies away unharmed. She can sting other insects all day long and never get hurt. The problem is that mammal skin is different. Thicker, tougher, more elastic. When a bee stings something with skin like ours, humans, bears, badgers, raccoons, the barbs catch on that elastic tissue and refuse to come out. The bee evolved her weapon for a battlefield she rarely fights on. Most of the time, she's defending her hive from things her stinger handles perfectly. It's only when a giant soft-skinned mammal shows up that the design fails her. In other words, when a honeybee stings you, she's basically using a weapon she was never supposed to use against you in the first place. But there's an even deeper reason this self-destructive behavior exists. And this is where the story gets genuinely fascinating. The honeybee is a eusocial insect. That means she lives in a colony where individual bees are not really individuals. They're more like cells in a single body. The hive itself is the organism. Each bee is just a tiny part of it. The queen is the only one who reproduces. The workers exist only to support her. Their entire purpose is the survival of the colony. not themselves. So when a worker bee dies stinging an enemy, she's not really sacrificing herself. From an evolutionary perspective, she's protecting the only thing that actually matters: the queen, the eggs, the genetic future of her family. Her individual life means almost nothing. The hive means everything. It's the most extreme version of teamwork that biology has ever produced. And here's where it gets really creepy. When a honeybee stings, she releases a chemical called isopentyl acetate. It's a pheromone, an alarm signal. The smell travels through the air in seconds, and the moment other bees in the area smell it, they go into attack mode. The dying bee in her final seconds marks you with a chemical scent that says one thing to every other bee within range: sting this thing, now. This is why getting stung by one bee near a hive often turns into being stung by 20. The first sting isn't just an injury, it's a signal. The bee that hits you essentially paints a target on your back in a smell that other bees can detect from over 30 feet away. The more you swat, the more you sweat, the more the scent spreads, and the more bees come to finish what their sister started. You don't just get stung, you get marked. Now here's a fact that most people don't know. Bees don't actually want to sting you. Not even the worker bees. They are not aggressive by nature. A honeybee will fly past you, around you, and even land on you without any intention of attacking. She's busy. She's working. She has flowers to visit, pollen to collect, sisters waiting at the hive. Stinging is the last resort. It's not a hobby, it's a death sentence. So when a bee stings you, she has decided, in her tiny mind, that you are a serious threat. Either you got too close to her hive, or you accidentally trapped her in your clothing, or you swatted at her and triggered her panic response. She doesn't sting because she wants to. She stings because she's run out of other options, and then she dies for it. It's one of the saddest defense systems in nature, a creature that has to choose in a single moment whether to commit suicide for the safety of her family. Most of the time, she chooses to fly away. But sometimes, when the threat is too close to the hive or the moment is too intense, she does what evolution has trained her to do: sacrifices herself, leaves a chemical trail, and becomes a single bullet fired in defense of millions of others. So the next time a bee buzzes too close to your face and you feel the urge to swing at it, just remember, she's probably not trying to sting you. She's probably just trying to get past you. And if she does sting you, she has just made the most expensive decision of her life. She gave everything for one tiny act of protection, and she will never see her hive again. Bees are tiny. They are easy to ignore. They get killed by the millions every year because of pesticides, climate change, and habitat loss. But they hold up the entire food system of the planet. They pollinate the crops that feed billions of humans. And every single one of them, from the pollen-covered worker bumping into your window to the stinger left behind in your skin, is part of one of the most beautifully tragic survival stories evolution has ever written. A creature that lives to serve the colony, dies to protect the colony, and gets remembered mostly only for the moment it stung someone. That isn't aggression, that's love. The kind that costs everything. If this completely changed the way you see bees, hit that subscribe button and join the Untold Earth family. We uncover the wildest, most beautiful, most overlooked truths about the natural world every single week. And I want to know, would you risk your life to protect your family the same way a honeybee does? Drop your honest answer in the comments below. I read every single one.